We will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So today we will continue Purifications of View, Diṭṭhivisuddhi. Series will be very wide when we talk about purifications of view. In our previous talk, we have already explained many things about mentalities and materialities. Also, we have already mentioned the characteristics, function, manifestation, cosmic cause of atomic realities. Now, many people ask, do we have to discern all types of mentalities and materialities? This is a big question. Here I give some source references from Samyutta Nikaya. Sabbam bhikkhave anabhijanam abrijanam abriyandam abhajaham abhabo dukkhakhaya. This is the first statement of the suttas. Then here I have mentioned very long Pali passage just for source reference. Now we also have English translations for this part. The next one is English translation. Bhikkhus, without fully understanding, fully comprehending, or without distraction, abandoning, one is incapable of ending suffering. This is the first statement. So that means without understanding all types of mentalities and materialities, we cannot make endless suffering. Not only that, we must abandon all types of defilements. Also, when we attain path in fruition knowledge, when we attain arhatship, we will also eradicate all types of defilements. Not only that, we also know the sensation of all the 5 gates. Then what's the monks that without fully understanding and fully comprehending, without distraction, abandoning, one is incapable of ending suffering. Without fully understanding and fully comprehending the iron translucency. So that means without understanding iron translucency, we cannot understand, so then we cannot make endless suffering. But when we go and read the Pali, Jakku, the eyes, but if we say the flesh eyes, the natural eyes like this, right? Yeah, Jakku bhikkhave, right? That means only eyes. So it doesn't mean only the eyes, it also say iron translucency together with many other materialities. Okay, then we have to go to the next page. Without knowing, right, iron translucency, we cannot make endless suffering. This is the one thing. Without fully understanding the fully comprehension visible objects, without distraction and abandoning, one is incapable of any suffering. So the next one is a visible object. Without fully understanding and fully comprehending iron consciousness, without distraction, with abandoning, and one is incapable of any suffering. Without fully understanding and fully comprehending iron's contacts, without distraction and abandoning, one is incapable of ending suffering. And whatever feeling arises with iron contact as a condition, whatever pleasant, painful, neither pleasant nor unpleasant, without fully understanding, fully comprehending it, without distraction and abandoning, one is incapable of ending suffering. So this passage is very long. So we have to, I just summarize a few things here. Okay, if we summarize, then there's the next page. In brief, we also have the Chinese translation, right? After that, we have in brief. Okay. So, okay, there's some, I have to change some mistake here. Okay, later I will say. In without comprehending iron translucency, Jakku. Visible object, Rupe. Iron consciousness, Jakku Vijnana. Iron contact, Jakku Sampasa. And feeling produced by iron contact, Jakku Sampasa Vedana. Without fully understanding, fully comprehending all of them, without distraction, abandoning, one cannot make, here, no, not can, right? Cannot make an end of suffering. There's some mistake, right? Cannot make end of suffering. So this is the first part we have to learn. So we have to know the base, iron translucency. Then when the visible object impinges on it, there will be iron dome in the process. In iron dome in the process, there's also iron consciousness. So when we have base, objects, and iron consciousness, there will be contact between all these three. If there's a contact, there will be feeling, good and bad, pleasant and unpleasant. Also, there can be neutral feeling. So we must understand all of them. They mention fully understanding, fully comprehending. If we don't understand, if we don't comprehend fully, we cannot make an end of suffering. That's why when we want to make end of suffering, we have to learn all the things. We have to design all types of things in detail. If somebody asks, do we need to know all types of mentalities and materialities? I have to say yes. So if we can understand well, then we can make end of suffering. If we cannot understand well, we cannot make end of suffering. This is the statement we can learn from Samyutta Nikaya. Okay, we have to go another part. So the Buddha also gives the same instructions for ear translucency and all other materialities and mentalities. So in our previous example, we just mentioned iron translucency. Similarly, we may have ear translucency. Then the sound will impinge on ear translucency. Then there will be ear consciousness. There will be ear contact. Then there will be feeling produced by ear contact. So if we can understand all the things, all types of mentalities, then we can make end of suffering. You can also understand the same things in nose, tongue, body, and the mind door. In every single sense doors, there's the object. There is a consciousness. There is a contact. There is feeling. It's just summary of the Salayana method according to Buddha's teaching. Without knowing that, we cannot improve our meditation. Then here we have to know another things. In any posture, the meditator must know all bases as mentioned above, according to Satipatthana Sutta. So when walking also, we can know all types of mental process naturally. As we see something, we hear something, we smell something, we taste something, we touch something, or we think something. So all types of mental process can arise in any daily activities. That's why we have to know all types of mentalities and materialities according to Satipatthana Sutta. Then in Satipatthana Sutta, we also have one chapter about clear comprehension. So they are mentioned in the Samajanya chapter, is mentioned about mentioned in Satipatthana Sutta. You may have already known many different things about clear comprehension or four postures or anything. So when we talk about clear comprehension, it's compulsory to know four types of kaya. Because they are mentioned kaya kanubhasi viharati, right? we must know body in the body. That's why we have to understand 4 types of kaya. 1, upadinaka kaya, all karma-born materialities. They are called upadinaka kaya. In this body, in any part of body, there will be karma-brutal materialities, such as iron translucency, air translucency, nose translucency, tongue translucency, body translucency. These are very clear. Similarly, we have heart materialities, sex materialities, life non-klapas, life faculties. All are called karma-brutal materialities. So we have to know all karma-brutal materialities. 2. Ahara samuthanika kaya, nutriment-born materiality. So we eat every day, we drink every day, then all of them can be nutriment for our life. There will be nutriment-brutal materialities all over the body. So they are also one of the kaya. The Udu Samuthanika kaya, temperature-born materialities. So we have heat and cold in our body. These are called temperature. It can produce materialities. We can practically experience in our daily life when the weather is good, our body is okay. When weather is bad, our body is not really okay. These are called Uducha Rupas. It can also affect many other types of materialities. Anyway, temperature-born materiality are also called Udu Samuthanika Kaya. Chitta Samuthanika Kaya, mind-born materialities. So when we are happy, our body will function. We feel a little bit lighter. When our minds become very heavy, when we feel sad or fear, right? Our body become very heavy. This mind-born materialities. They are called Chitta Samuthanika Kaya. So here we have 4 different types of kaya. When we are going to talk about clear comprehension, we must understand these 4 types in brief. In reality, we have already explained all types of materialities in the chapter of Rupa discernment, discerning Rupa. Even we have already made a table for explaining all the things. Anyway, now as the basics, we have to know these 4 types of materialities. After that, I will choose some Pali words from Masatipatthana Sutta. We have some Pali word, Abhikande, going forwards, Patikande, coming back. So that means while going, the body intimation arises. Okay, one more thing. Yeah, we should talk about body intimation a little bit more. Actually, body intimation is a group of materialities. They are actually produced by mind. When we move forwards, we have one element predominant body parts, it will push. I think you have already know pushing is also one element. One element will push. Then many rupa will arise in different places. So here body intimation is just a movement, changing. It comes from Kirtija rupas. Also, one element predominance. There are also one element predominant materialities. Okay, now since the body intimation is the mind-born materialities, that brings the 4 types of kaya to move forwards. Okay, this is one part we have to know. That means mind-produced materialities will bring 4 types of materiality, one place to another place. Because of pushing, they will arise in different places. The meditator must know the mental process that produce the body intimation. Okay, here one more thing. When we are going to practice, we must know the mental process that produce the body intimation. It's very simple. But here, I just use some Pali word from the commentary. So when we go and read the commentary, I just change some Pali words because they just use the pronouns, right? When we go and read original commentary, they will use pronouns. So I just change to the noun. 𝐷𝐸𝐸𝐽𝐸. Okay? So that means the mind produces the wind. Okay. Although we say the mind produces the wind, it means the mental process will produce the wind. This is the first steps we have to know. So what kind of mental process produce? Of course, we wish to move. It was to move. This is the mind. Then there it was mental process. Then mental process will produce the winds. So while 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐸𝐸, the winds produce the intimation. So the winds were forced to move. Then all the materialities will arise in different places. Will arise in different places. This is called 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐸𝐸. So this is really called body intimation. So when we are going to move forwards, we must know the mental process that produce the wind elements. But we also have to know that when all elements produce the movement, we can also say intimation. This is called a 𝐵𝐾 going forwards. Then we also have to know the mental process in detail. Okay, among the 7 impulsions that produce the wind, the first 6 impulsions support the materiality to be stable. Here we just say อุปธรรมก hetu in Pali. So I have already said there will be mental process. In every single mental process, we have 7 impulsions. This is actually when we are going to move. This is our daily life, right? Then it can be like a mental process. Then there will be 7 impulsions. So the first 6 were supposed to be stable, and the last impulsion produced a movement we call Janaka Hetu. So this is the statement. So we have many things to explain in this part. Similarly, Patikante coming back. It should be the same. Right? When we come back also, there will be mental process that produces the wind. The wind will produce the intimation, the movement. Then in the mental process, there will be อุปธรรมก hetu, the supporting cause. There will be Janaka hetu, producing cause. Okay, now āloketi, viloketi. Actually, we also have to know. Oh, sorry, Ibe. Ālokite, vilokite, it should be right. Ālokite, vilokite, sorry. Ālokite, vilokite. Looking ahead or looking aside. Actually, these are also the mentalities. When we are going to look ahead, so we have wish to look ahead. This is also mental process. So because of the mental process, it will produce the wind element. Then we will look ahead. Our face will turn ahead, right? Then there will be mental process. We will see something, we will have mental process. For about turning our face, or maybe moving our eyes. This is also body intimation. So it also produced by consciousness. We can say 𝐸𝐸 right? That means the mental process will produce the wind element. The wind elements will produce movement. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐻, look at the side. So when we turn our face, then this will be wind elements force our face turn here and there, turn around. Then there will be body intimation. Okay, this is just very simple things. Again, right? While there is also like a material image design that aggregates, bases, elements, and conditions. Here I just summarize all the things. We must design aggregate, bases, elements, and conditions. I don't remember how many times I have explained different conditions of meditators. The Buddha give different instructions, aggregate method, aggregate method, prayer-based method, 18 elements method. Not only that, when we talk about cause and effect relationship, dependent originations, patana, according to listeners' conditions, the Buddha explains many different ways of practice. So, okay, now we should talk about Panda aggregates. When we look ahead or look aside, we may have endowment process. When we have endowment process, ion translucency and visible object are the material aggregates. So ion translucency alone cannot arise. It will arise together with coexistent materialities. There will be 10 types of materialities together with including the ion translucency. In the ion translucency, one of the translucent clapas, there will be 4 elements: the color, the smell, the taste, nutritive essence, life faculties. After that, ion translucency. So 10 materiality arise together. This is called ion translucency. So when we say aggregates, that means a group. If ion translucency arise alone, we cannot say group. We cannot say aggregate, right? They arise as a group. That's why they are called aggregates. Visible object. So visible object can be the color. The color alone cannot arise. It will arise together with coexistent materialities. Okay, one more thing here. Visible object can be living beings, also can be non-living things. If living beings, there can be many different types of rupa kalapas. For example, as a human being, we have many different types of rupa kalapas. Okay, similarly, when we have like a non-living things, there can be also many different types of rupa kalapas. They also arise as a group. That's why they are called aggregates. So briefly, we can understand ion translucency and visible object are material aggregates. The associated mental factors, feeling is feeling aggregates. So here, one more thing that we have to explain about feeling. Feeling alone cannot arise. It will arise together with many other mentalities. Then they will arise together. They will take the same objects. They will put together. They were based on the same. They will arise depending on the same base. They are called associated mental factors. That's why the mentality led by feeling is called feeling aggregate. The associated mental factor perception is perception aggregate. Perception alone cannot arise. It will arise together with other associated mentalities. Okay, as we have said in feeling aggregates, perception aggregate also proof of mentalities led by perception. Contact, phassa. Sometimes we can also say like a Chirana volition. And the remaining mental factors are formation aggregates. So these are mentalities, especially mental factors. Unconsciousness is consciousness aggregates. Unconsciousness alone cannot arise. It will arise together with 7 universals, a group of mentalities. Then they are also called aggregates. So that means 7 universals led by consciousness is called consciousness aggregate. So the 11 categories of aggregates have been mentioned before. So we have already mentioned many things about 11 categories, right? For example, present, past, future, internal, external, inferior, superior, gross and subtle, far and near. We have all these types of materialities. So these are called aggregates. When we are going to practice vipassana or to overcome wrong view, for purification of the view, we need to know 5 aggregates. So in the very beginning, we have to know all types of mentalities. After that, we can divide into different aggregates. Okay, now we have to continue ayatana, basis. So there will be many different types of basics according to ayatana. Oh, one more thing here. Sometimes people just understand eyes as a concept. For example, when we talk about right, chakku, mostly people understand as eyes. That's why when we use Pali word chakku, right? Because eye is impermanent, eye is also right, anicca, something like that. People misunderstand like that. Actually, it doesn't mean the eyes, flesh eyes. It just means intranslucency. So the eye is only concepts, right? Many types of materiality arise in the eyes. They are just concepts. If we can know ultimate reality in the eyes, this is called, it will be the subject for meditations, especially the subject of vipassana. Okay, now, when looking ahead, the eye translucency is eye base. We call Cakkayatana in Pali. So I have already mentioned eye translucency cannot arise alone. It will arise together with coexistent materialities or corporeality. The visible object is visual base. So I already mentioned visible object can be living things, non-living things. According to these 2 different objects, there can be different types of materialities. For example, for human being, we may have kamacha rupas, chitta rupas, uduja rupas, haraja rupas. For non-living things, it can be uduja rupas. It will be 2 different things. The eye consciousness is consciousness base. Then all other associated mental factors are Dhamma base. These are Ayana method. Just an example, eye translucency. We can also understand ear translucency, nose translucency, hand translucency, body translucency. Also, heart materialities. It can be bases. Actually, every single rupas we have already learned in Diṭṭhivisuddhi, in the or about 28 types of materialities, right? It can be the basis. It depends on the condition we have. So these are the Ayana method. We have different conditions of meditators. That's why the Buddha gives different instructions. For those who have very clear in Rupa discernment, so those who have very strong delusions in Nama discernment, the Buddha will talk about 5 Vijay methods. For those who have very strong delusions in the mentalities, weak delusions in mentality, the Buddha will use Salana methods. Now we have Dhatu methods, elements methods. It's not much different from previous ayana. While looking ahead, the iron translucency is an iron element. The visual object is a visual element. The iron consciousness is a consciousness element. All other associated mental factors are Dhamma elements. It's a little bit similar to ayana. So there are many other ways we have to know about the practice. So for those who have very strong delusions in Nama Rupas, what I will teach, Dhatu methods. So we have 3 methods already. Aggregate, Khanda, for those who have very strong delusions in mentality. Adana, for those very strong delusions in materialities. Dhatu, for those who have very strong delusions in both mentalities and materialities. The Buddha gives different instructions to different meditators according to their conditions, their delusions, and their discernment. Okay, now we have to explain something about patthana according to all these conditions. Then here we just say very simple things, right? If I cannot explain very much in detail because it will be too messy for new learners. That's why I just say very simple things. Okay, when we see or when we are looking ahead or looking aside, then what types of mentalities, what types of patthana conditions do we have? This is actually for our cause and effect relationship. So compared to dependent originations, patthana is more messy, more difficult. But anyway, now we can make everything simple. The iron translucency is a supporting condition, Nisaya Pachayo. You know already, Nisaya Pachayo, right? In the case of Nisaya Pachayo, there is also means 𝐏𝐭𝐬𝐬𝐚 𝐸𝐿𝐴 dhatuya Nisaya Pachayana So this parts will be applying here. The visual object will be the object conditions, Aramana Pachayo. So in the patthana, we can find Rupayaranam Chakuvinyana Dhatuya Aramana Pachayana Pachayo. You can understand this part here. The advertent consciousness is continuity conditions and so forth. This is another type. So actually there are many parts in another types. For example, when we are going to talk about Purima Abhyagata Dhamma Pachimana Abhyagadana Dhammana Nandra Pachena Pachayo. It covers phyto-advertent consciousness and unconsciousness. Phyto-advertent consciousness is a preceding one, preceding mind moment. Unconsciousness is succeeding mind moments. They are another type, continuity type. When we say continuity, then okay, I should use Pali what easier for you, right? Anandara Pachayo, Samanandara Pachayo, it will be the same. When we go and read in Upanisaya Pachayo, we can also find the same. That Nati Pachayo, Vikata Pachayo, they are the same. All the things will be, all the conditions will be here. Okay, in reality, here I just mentioned advertent consciousness is continuity conditions and so forth. I just say so forth, right? Because it will be very wide. I have to explain all types of mind moments in the mental process. Preceding one and succeeding one, they are Anandara type. Whenever we talk about Anandara type, you must understand at least 5 conditions. Anandara, Samanandara, Upanisaya, Ati, Vigata. Sorry, Nati, Vigata. Okay, so these 5 conditions at least. In the case of impulsion mind moments, there can be asevana pachayo again. That's why it will be very wide. But here we just talk about looking ahead or looking aside. Here we just pick up only unconscious mind moments. That's why here I just say very simple things. Again, the light is powerful supporting conditions. Upanisaya pachayo. Why is Upanisaya pachayo? When we go and study Upanisaya pachayo, you will find Purima, Kusala, Dhamma, Pachimana, Kusala, Dhamma, and so forth. At the end, it will mention Udu Bhojanambi, Ugalobi, Senasanambi, right? These conditions. So, although it's just mentioned very simple, Udu Bhojanambi, Bugalobi, Senasanambi, actually, there are many other power supporting conditions. The light, it comes from our body also possible. It comes from external. It comes from external supporting cause. So anyway, it can be Upanisaya pachayo. Then all mental factors are associating conditions. Samyutta pachayo. Here I just say very simple way, Samyutta pachayo, right? But in reality, whenever we talk about Samyutta pachayo, we can also say Sahajara pachayo, Anyamanya pachayo. We can also say, right? Nisaya pachayo. It mentioned Nisaya pachayo also. They are called all the mental factors that arise together with unconsciousness. This is according to Patana. We have to know. This is also cause and effect relationship. Also, when we talk about dependent origination, it can be only cause and effects. In the case of Patana, the cause, the effect, and the condition. That is why when we are going to say looking ahead or looking aside, we must know all types of mentalities, different conditions. It can be Khanda, Irana, Dhatu. Not only that, when we are going to talk about cause and effect relationship, it can be Patana, it can be dependent originations. It depends on the power we are practicing. So if we say briefly, when we are walking or standing or sitting or lying or any daily activities, any movements, we can discern all types of mentalities and materialities. Then we can divide into Khanda, aggregates, Irana, bases, Dhatu, elements. Also, we can discern Patana. This is also called clear comprehension. Okay, now we will talk about clear comprehension a little bit in detail again. He adds with clear comprehensions when bending, stretching. He adds with clear comprehensions when carrying the outer robes and bow. And he adds with clear comprehensions when eating, drinking, chewing, and savoring. He adds with clear comprehension when defecating, urinating, and he adds with clear comprehensions when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, talking, and keeping silent. These are the statements we can find in Masripatthana Sutta. Although we say very briefly, very simply, for example, when bending or stretching, right? We stretch our hands. This is also one element. We already mentioned, right? When elements, the mental process will produce when elements will produce movement, intimation. So we have to know all types of aggregates and also bases, elements, and patana conditions in every single movement. He adds with clear comprehensions when carrying the outer robe and bowl. This is for bhikkhu, right? So we bhikkhu have to carry our upper robe, then we have to wear lower robe, upper robe, also we have to carry double robe, we have to carry bowls. At the time also we must know mind produce, mental process produce one element produce movement. In every single movement, there will be 5 aggregates. There will be bases, elements, and patana. Again, he acts with clear comprehension when eating, drinking, chewing, savoring. Actually, all are like movements. He acts with clear comprehensions when defecating, urinating. These are also movements. He acts with clear comprehension when walking, standing, sitting. Actually, standing and sitting can be stable, but anyway, this also body intimation produced by mind. Falling asleep, waking up, talking, keeping silent. So this will be clear comprehensions. So before falling asleep, we will know. After falling asleep, we cannot know anymore, right? When we wake up, we can know again. So we must know all these aggregates. We can say namarupas, aggregates, bases, elements, also different originations of patana. So briefly, when we talk about going or walking or sitting or lying down, every daily activities, we must know namarupa systematically, 5 aggregates systematically, bases, elements systematically, after that, different originations of patana systematically. In the case of purifications of the view, if we wish to overcome, right, wrong view, we must know all types of mentalities in detail. Okay, now and again, I just talk about, right, the Venerable Buddha's case, Anupada Sutta in brief. I just copy from Anupada Sutta. Venerable Buddha entered jhana and emerging from jhanas. He discerned jhana dhamma. He could discern 16 materialities clearly. They are sukha, sati. Okay, here one more than sati, right? 1. Then also samajjanya, chitikakata, phassa, vedana, sanya, chirana, chitta, chanda, adhimokha, viriya, sati. Sati repeating 2 times. I suspect that one, right? Maybe there will be some other replacement. That's why I just make 1, 2. Ubhakha and manasikara. Okay, this is the parts we have to know. Ubhakha and manasikara, right? These are, already I mentioned 16 types of mentalities. So he could see all the 16 clearly in every single mind moment. Every single jhana mind moment. Anupada Sutta is very wide. They mention whenever Sariputta entered the first jhana, also mention very, very long process. After that, emerging from it, there's some first jhana mentalities. Similarly, in the second jhana, emerging from it, there's some second jhana mentalities. Enter the third jhana, emerging from it, there's some third jhana mentalities. Enter into fourth jhana, emerging from it, there's some fourth jhana mentalities. Not only that, immaterial jhana, Akasanancha, boundless space, boundless consciousness, also nothingness jhana. 3 immaterial jhanas, except in the last one, neither perception, nor non-perception. So among the 8 attainments, he entered into 7 attainments. And also imagine from each of them, then discern the mentalities These are just statements we can find in Anubbara Sutta. But we have to check in detail. According to, okay, if we summarize in detail, Buddha also, or the Venerable Sariputta also can discern all of them, and their characteristics, their function, also their manifestation, and the prosmic cause. We have already mentioned everything in detail in our previous talks. I don't know how many talks I have to explain about it. Then Brahma Sariputta having thoroughly discerns those states of those mental states and also know their characteristics. Okay, now the next one is the characteristics, right? I just mentioned briefly. So now Vitakka, applying thoughts, has characteristic of directing the mind. So we have already talked about Vitakka, right? Mostly people understand Vitakka means thoughts. That means when they have a thought, this is called Vitakka, they misunderstand. And in the case of meditation, it's not the thought. It's directing the mind to go and see or to know the object. This is called applying thoughts. So be careful. Vichara also sustained thoughts. Mostly people understand Vichara as like investigations or analyzing something. But in reality, Vichara means sustained thoughts. Vitakka were applying or direct the mind to know the object. Vichara were sustained to keep knowing it. So here the character is a meaning. So people can misunderstand because it's a meaning, right? In reality, not really is a meaning. That means like sustaining. PT, rupture, has the characteristic of feeling. So that means it will infect all over the body. It will make rejoice, join all over the body. Sukha, pleasure, has the characteristic of soothing. You have already know what is really called sukha, right? Sukha means pleasant feeling all over the body. This is also a kind of mental state. Right? When we feel something pleasant in our body, we like it, right? This is also called sukha. Sometimes we translate like a bliss. Anyway, we can also continue another one. Ekakata. One-pointedness of mind has the characteristic of non-destruction. So that means it will keep knowing only one object. It cannot be distracted by anything. This is called ekakata. If we have distractions, we cannot know one object all the time. Tampasa, contact, has the characteristic of touching. Okay, one more thing. Yeah, touching means we not touching like a hand or something, right? It's not physical touch, only mentally touch. We have already talked about it before, especially when we talk about mentalities. When we see somebody eating lemon, right? It's a little bit sour one, right? Then it will, right? We will saliva will gather in our mouths, right? This is it. We don't touch lemon, but mentally we touch it. That's why saliva gather inside our mouth. This is called phassa, mentally touch. Again, Vedana, feeling, has the character of experiencing. Actually, feeling also can be like a sukha. We already mentioned sukha, right? Sukha also feeling. There are many other sukha. According to Mahasatipatthana Sutta, it mentioned nine types of feeling. Right? But here, if we say according to Abhidhamma, it can be sukha, dukkha, adukama sukha. Sukha means pleasant, adukha means unpleasant. Adukama sukha means neither pleasant nor unpleasant. This is called Vedana, feeling. Sanya, perception, has the characteristic of recognizing because of the perceiving the object or marking the object. Chetana, volition, has the characteristic of intending because of say reinforcing associated mental factors. Then Vijnana, consciousness has the characteristics of knowing. This is very clear already. The vijnana consciousness will know just roughly, generally. It cannot differentiate good and bad. Then we have another part, chanda. Desire has the characteristics of vengeance. Right? So let me desire has the characteristics of vengeance means this is a mere wish. Adhimokha, determination has the characteristic of resolving. So it will determine the objects, good and bad or something. We can also say adhimokha means freedom of thoughts. Viriya, energy, has the characteristic of exertion. We have already know that. Right? Sati, mindfulness is the characteristic of remembering. Or we can also say like a very firm perception. Right? Then ubekha, equanimity, has the characteristic of balance. Okay, here in the case of ubekha, we can also say like a tatara machatata, ever evenness. The manasikara, attention, has the characteristic of focusing. Actually, these are the conditions according to the commentary. So that is why when I talk about sati, repeating sati 2 times, right? Then I also a little bit suspect there will be another part, for example, like a viriya. Right? So in the case of system mentality, according to Anupada Sutta mentioned, right? It just mentioned like sati, samajanya, chitakakata, phassa, vedana, sanya, chirana, chitta, chanda, adhimokha, viriya, after the sati, right? Ubekha, manasikara. So here we have some other mentality here mentioned, right? PT, right? It doesn't mention PT, right? So I think instead of sati, we can say like a PT also possible. That's what I suspect, right? Anyway, we already talked about it, so we should not say many different things about it, okay? So we have already learned according to, okay, all the things, this out 16 are according to the commentary. Okay, now we have to go another part. That is apprehension, viriya, and sati cover saddha, panya, as they are the same as a faculty. Okay. This is according to the sub-commentary. The previous one is according to the commentary. So when we talk about viriya and sati, because these two I had already mentioned among the 16, right? So saddha and panya, they are also called controlling faculties. That is why Brahma Sariputta also can know saddha and panya. Apprehending sati cover 6 pairs of mental factors, kaya pasati, and so on, as they are totally blameless. So we have already talked about 6 pairs of mentalities before, especially when we talk about the mentalities. So, okay, there will be many different things about beautiful mentalities, right? Among the beautiful mentalities, there's also mentions kaya pasati, chitta pasati. Pasati means tranquility. So this is also one of the pair. we already mentioned this is the opposite of restlessness. Then again, we have Kaya Lahuda, Chitta Lahuda, lightness of mental body and consciousness. And the next one is a flexibility of body, Kaya Muruda, Chitta Muruda, the flexibility of mental body and flexibility of consciousness. The next is a wideness of mental body and wideness of consciousness, Kaya Kamanyada, Chitta Kamanyada. Then we have proficiency of mental body and proficiency of consciousness, Kaya Pagunyada, Chitta Pagunyada. Then we have the last part, rectitude of mental body and rectitude of consciousness. These are Kayu Chukada, Chitu Chukada. So these are called 6 pairs. They are blameless. Blameless means wholesome. So they will arise together whenever wholesome consciousness arises. Okay, the main thing is whenever sati arises, they will rise together with the sati. So whenever sati body also can discern all these things. Again, vijnana, jhana consciousness. They are here in this case, which have already talked about it. Whenever Sariputra enter into jhana, emerging from jhana, it discerns all jhana mentalities, one by one. So this also includes associated mental factors, non-greed, non-hatred. So this is from the sub-commentary. Okay. Now we have to summarize the first questions. Do we need to know all types of mentalities when we are going to practice? When we are going to overcome wrong view? Which is, we are talking about purification thought view. So we have already mentioned anything about comparators. Continuity comparators, synthetic comparators, also function comparators, or object comparators. If we can break down the comparators, we may have very strong perceptions of anicca, dukkha, anatta. For example, if we know the mental process, we can break down the series of mind moments, arising impressions. Then we can also know in detail. We can overcome the perceptions of permanent, because they are arising impression very rapidly. If we can break down the compactness of synthesis, that means in every single mind moment, many mental factors arise together. So here we have already talked about Anubhava Sutta. Whenever Satibuddha discern all types of mentalities in detail. But if we just go and read the Pali, it just mentioned only 16 types of mentalities. But if we go and study in commentary and sub-commentary, it mentioned very many things in detail. Whenever Satibuddha can know many other mentalities because they arise together. We cannot skip. Okay, if we give some simile, for example, when I say, okay, please bring me please bring me water. I just say, bring me water. Without cup, you cannot bring any water. There must be a container to bring water, right? Similarly, although we say consciousness, it will arise together with many other mentalities. If we know they are arising as a groove, perish as a groove, taking the same object, they are different function. We have very clear understanding of anatta, non-self. That is why if we can know all the mentalities in detail in every daily activities, then we can overcome wrong view. So whenever we talk about wrong view, we have to understand two different things. The first one is come from the first one come from self or soul, everlasting entity. The second wrong view come from the world. For example, the world is permanent or impermanent. Right? That's the end of the world or not. This kind of wrong view. But anyway, in the case of practice, we must overcome the wrong view. Diṭṭhivisuddhi, purification of the view. If we can purify our view, then there will be the next steps. We have to continue practicing cause-effect relationship. In today's topic, we have already explained 4 postures, clear comprehensions. Okay, one more thing for your understanding, for your information. I haven't explained many things about Mahasatipatthana Sutta in this class, but I have already talked about it in 𝐵𝐻 many years ago, maybe around 2012 or something. Then I have already mentioned there clear comprehension chapter and 4 postures in Kayanupassana Satipatthana. It's are not for beginners. So after understanding mind produce materialities, we can practice 4 postures and clear comprehensions. That's why today I just introduce clear comprehension a little bit more in detail. Although I say more in detail, it can be very much in detail, right? But today I can just introduce very little part of clear comprehension. So in every single movement, we have to know 4 types of kaya. In 𝐵𝐻 traditions, okay, I just say 𝐵𝐻 tradition. We cannot say 𝐵𝐻 method, right? Because that method comes from Pali canons. We have one practice, carrying rupas and being carry rupas. In this part, mostly we talk about 4 postures and clear comprehensions. These are daily activities. When we are going to walk, then we must know the mind will produce the wind produces movement. So if we say another way, when elements predominant, mind produce materialities are carrying 4 types of kaya. We already mentioned 4 types of kaya, right? In the very beginning of this topic. So 4 kayas are being carried. Then mind produce materialities, when elements predominant, kalabas are carrying. So we have to know these 2 things, carrying rupas and being carried rupas. If we can know these 2, we can discern walking as a walking, sitting as a sitting, standing as a standing, lying down as a lying down. Not only that, as mentioned in clear comprehension, we have already mentioned, right? When we go aside, when we go ahead, when we come back, or when we look ahead, look aside, in any daily activities, it should be the same. So we have already known concrete rupas and unconcrete rupas. Concrete rupas are the object of vipassana. When we are going to contemplate as anicca, dukkha, anatta, it must be concrete rupas. But when we are going to discern mentalities, we will discern all types of rupas, concrete materialities or inconcrete materialities. Okay, one more thing. I have already mentioned concrete rupas are the object of vipassana. Now, when we are carrying, right, when we are moving, this is a body intimation. Body intimation is unconcrete rupas or non-concrete rupas. We cannot say as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Of course, if we can know nama rupas in detail, clearly, I have already mentioned 5 gates. ayana, basis, patthana, we can discern anicca, dukkha, anatta. That is why we have to understand Vipassana is not that simple as people thought, as people understood. Vipassana is very deep and profound. So if we are going to overcome wrong view, we have to know all types of mentalities in every single mind moment as a process. Then also we have to know the cause and relationship in every single mind moment. Then we can also have to know 5 gates, 12 bases, 80 elements in every single mind moment. In this way, we can overcome wrong view. We can purify our view. This is the practice taught by the Buddha. Okay, so I will stop here. Today we just finished the purification of view. So next time we have to continue talking about the next steps, purification of overcoming doubt. It will take longer time, I expect it, because we have to say many different things. Anyway, the deeper we can understand Buddha teaching, the stronger confidence we may have. It's also important to have stronger confidence. Sometimes our confidence comes from our practice. So if we can practice well, our confidence becomes stronger. So learning and practicing should be together. Our practice should not be very far from the learning knowledge. Similarly, our learning knowledge must be for our practice. May you all be able to practice as taught by the Buddha, and may you all be able to realize the final cessation and not suffering.
First question, dear Sayadaw, in some meditation centers, during walking meditation, yogis are taught to be mindful all the details of the leg movement, lifting, moving forward, lowering down, etc. Is this also part of what Sayadaw explained today regarding the going forward and coming back? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes, as you have already mentioned, lifting, movement forwards or lowering down, all the things, right? Because of five similar teaching in Rupa Sataka practice. So in this case, we must know all the mentalities and materialities, right? Not only legs, we have to know all the materialities. So this is also called going forwards and coming back or every movement. Sure. Okay, next one.
Question 2. Dear Sayadaw, when discerning mentality and materiality, if a meditator cannot discern or understand some of the mentality or materiality, can he proceed with his practice to the next stage, or he must try to discern all before he can move on? Second question, is it necessary to discern materiality first before one can proceed to mentality? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Actually, in the very beginning of topic, I always say sabbam, right? Sabbam means every, right? Sabbam bhikkhave anabhijanam. Anabhijanam means not knowing, not comprehending all types of mentalities or materialities. We're going to make another suffering. Already mentioned in the very beginning, right? That's why I put that one in the very beginning. So we must know all types of mentalities according to the process. Okay, another thing is all types means it depends on your daily life and your practice. For example, when you can take jhana, you can do some jhana mentalities. And this is also important. For example, what about materialities? I have already mentioned we must understand all types of materialities. What about rupa parikaha? Discerning materialities, right? So without understanding, we cannot make another suffering. This is very important. It's necessary. Okay, another second question. Okay, also, so the first question also mentioned, without understanding, we're going to move to the next stage. Okay, it's necessary to discern materialities first before we can proceed to mentality. It depends. For example, for those who cannot attain jhana, they must discern materiality first, or rather they can proceed to discerning mentality. This is the compulsory. For jhana practitioners, They can start from mentalities. After that, they can proceed descending materialities. It can be different options for different practitioners. For samatha practitioners, for jhana practitioners, they can choose either one. They can start with mentalities or materialities. For samatha practitioners, for only pure vipassana vehicle, only they can start with only materialities. Okay, so this is necessary to discern both of them. Okay, next one.
Question 3. Dear Sayadaw, what is the difference between sanya and panya? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, sanya means just marking. Okay, for example, you can memorize many things. Okay, you can remember many things. It can be sanya. For about panya, you can analyze all the things you understand or you have learned. This is called panya. Okay, so panya can know everything in detail. Sanya cannot know in detail, but can remember many things. Okay.
Dear Sayadaw, discernment of nama, is it a type of feeling or a type of sensation?
Nama?
Discerning nama, is it a type of sensation?
Actually, this is a misunderstanding, right? When we say nama, I have already listed out what Venerable Sariputta descends. These all are called nama, not only sensation. Okay, sensation can be, for example, okay, when we touch something, when we feel something, right? This is a earth element touch, earth element, we can say, right? This is a rupa, we can say, right? So there may be bodily base, there will be tangible objects, there will be body consciousness, and also associated mental factors. So there are many things to note about sensations. In this case, sensation alone cannot say nama. Okay. Next one.
Question 5. Dear Sayadaw, verbal intimation and bodily intimation are very vague. How to help one to understand them? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, it will be a little bit difficult for beginners. Okay, and we'll talk about, I have already explained about body intimation, right? Body intimation, when we move, then this is called body intimation, already mentioned, right? Okay, now for about bhava intimation. When we are going to speak something, there will be, there are earth elements predominant, tirja rupas, arises in our vocal cords. There's also the earth element predominant, kama broju materialities. The kama broju materialities and nine broju materialities strike together and it produces the sound, right? So that means, actually, they don't have any specific materialities for it. This comes from kamaja and tirja right? But because of the tone, the voice, people can know our inner desire. If we can say softly, or if we can say a little bit roughly, it depends on our voice, our tone. People can understand our inner desire, right? That is why we call bhava intimation is also like a unreal rupa, unconcrete rupa, right? So they are not the object of vipassana. Similarly, body intimations is also moving forward. For example, okay, when we shake our heads, we say no, right? When we know our heads, we say yes. People can know our inner desire. But this also, I already mentioned, mind spiritual materialities bring other materialities, right? So the main thing is mind spiritual materialities, they just bring actually. Now, all other four types of kayas are also just being carried. They have different grouping already, but a combination of all these things can be considered as body intimation, right? All the things come from different types of materialities. That's why we cannot discern as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay? So it will be a little bit difficult for beginners, right? But anyway, when you are going to practice, you must discern all the things. Okay, another one.
Question 6. Dear 𝐸𝐤𝐸, when should one practice Anupada method? What are the benefits of practicing this detailed way? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, we can do Anupada method in any conditions, but in Pao we just teach only for advanced meditators. That means those who have already practiced like a Banganyana or something, then we may encourage them to practice Anupada Vipassana. It will be easier, right? So by discerning in detail, then we can also discern Nama clearer, also more in detail, then we can also find which one is easier for us, right? We can also know clear Nama Rupas. Actually, there are many benefits of practicing Anupada Vipassana. Okay, then another thing.
Yes, sometime in the daytime, he can feel that his nostril around the nose there were bright light, but at night it becomes dim. However, according to the light of wisdom, this brightness should not be interfered by the external light. So how to explain this?
Okay. Actually, at night, you must be more patient. If you are impatient, you're going to see the light clearly or easily, right? So, by the daytime, you have external lights, that's why it will be brighter for you. But anyway, as long as you don't think about the light too much, it will be good enough. Sometimes you may follow external light too much. It will be to start by external lights. Just keep knowing your own objects. There can be brightness naturally. It can be the same day or night. It will be easier for you to improve. Okay.
Question 8. Dear 𝐸𝐤𝐸, please 𝐸𝐤𝐸 advise. In this world, what are the things that we need and can categorize or analyze based on characteristics, functions, manifestations, and proximate causes? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so in this case, we have all types of materialities, all types of mentalities, also different originations. Then all the things are actually the object of Vipassana, especially when we are going to practice Namarupa discernment. In Bali, we call Namarupa Parigaha. Namarupa Parigaha means discerning mentalities and materialities, right? Every time we have to do all the things, right? How I mentioned, all types of consciousness, mentality, all types of metaphatas, also all types of materialities, also all types of different origination factors. And we must know, we must analyze them as characteristics, function, manifestation, and proximate causes. Okay.
Dear 𝐸𝐤𝐸, my name is 𝐸𝐤𝐸. In the Iriyapada, the four posture Samajanya practice, must one enter into jhana, then only can practice this method?
Only jhana?
Means
actually, it doesn't.
In the practice of Iriyapada, the four posture Samajanya, must one enter into jhana, then only can practice?
Actually, it doesn't mean only by jhana. For those who have already discerned four types of kaya, I already mentioned in the very beginning of the topic today talk, right? They can discern the four postures and clear comprehensions. For example, those who does not attain jhana, they may have samatha yanika, vipassana yanika, to vipassana vehicle, then they don't attain jhana, right? But they have discerned four types of kaya. It's also possible for them to practice four postures and clear comprehensions. Okay, the next one.
Dear 𝐸𝐤𝐸, how to be sure the discernment of nama and rupa is really done as it is, or it is imagination of himself? how to differentiate these two.
Okay, so that means if you're trying to create something, you may feel discomfort. Nonetheless, if you create something, you're going to maintain a very long time. If you design naturally, but you can design whole sitting, whole day, whole night, right? So don't create anything. It should be just natural. It will be easier. Okay. Etta vadacha ammehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sampatti siddhya idhamme nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idhamme nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idhamme nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idhamme punyam asavakhaya vaham hotu idhamme punyam nibbanasa bhajayo hotu mama punya bhagam sabba sadanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam punya bhagam labandu sadhu sadhu sadhu.